welcome to episode 121 of the Knitting Samurai Enter Guys. I am your host Steph, also known as the Knitting Samurai, and it is, March 27th, 2015. I don't usually throw the date in there, but if you are future watching, that's when today is. So it is 41. I just ran outside and got a new phone and ran back. Yeah, it's 41 degrees outside today, so things are melting here in New Hampshire, and I wasn't sick of winter, it's like I laugh that, oh yeah, now it's the time of year when everybody gets mad at winter. I'm always happy to have snow, and, well, mostly happy to have snow, but spring is a nice change. So no jacket for me today. It's supposed to get up to 48. I think they misforecasted that, but it's okay. I could be a little cold running to the car. I'll take it. I'll take it over some of those cold, windy days that we did have. So let's talk about knitting, because it's not a show about the weather in New Hampshire, although there is a guy that does like Hillbilly Weatherman on Facebook. Oh my god, he's hilarious. He does New Hampshire weather podcast style / weatherman style / do you remember that like red green guy that was on PBS? He kind of looks like that, except very explicit. He's really funny. You can find him on Facebook. I'm not going to link him in the show notes because I sort of recommend him, but not really. So take that as you will. Let's talk about knitting. So in this bag, which I love so much, it's the perfect colors for me, which is a Fat Squirrel bag, and it's the perfect color for my favorite yarn. So you remember I was trying to make myself feel better about my knitting, and I cast on a Barn Raising Quilt square blanket. The word square doesn't belong in there. Barn Raising Quilt, which is by Shelly Mackey and Larissa Brown. So I cast on one. I have my big 3-year project going, but I cast on a second one for my baby T, Mr. T. I've decided I could call him Mr. T, like the bald Mr. T. Isn't that a great nickname? We mostly call him T Money, but Mr. T would be a good one too. So yeah, and the teachers downstairs, I just have to tell you, the teachers at the daycare a lot of times call him Mr. Tristan, and Sister Christian, you're the time has come. You know that song? Every time they say, good morning, Mr. Tristan, I start humming along. So anyway, I'm a little hyper. This is like multiple copies today. It's okay. And if you're new, well, welcome. And sometimes I'm kidding. Just, and if you're returning, you're used to this. You're like, oh, here comes crazy stuff. So, Barn Raising Quilt for Tristan. I had all my color dilemmas, and I only have one skein of this Opal Rainforest Series 6, I think, in the Merlin colorway. And let me tell you, made in England, you are my savior. I love you so much. Thank you. She saw my sadness, heard me cry, and went out and found it on eBay. I cannot believe this. Found 2 different sites that still had some. I ordered 2 skeins, so I will be able to have this as the primary color for Tristan's blanket, which is what I wanted. So this is my probably most favorite yarn in stash, and I've had it since 2010, so 5 years it's been marinating. Here's one of the squares finished. I've knit 2 squares out of this skein, and it's gorgeous. I love, love, love it. So I ordered 2 more skeins, thinking I definitely will need 2 for the blanket. If I want to make it larger, I have enough that I can do that, or if I want to knit myself a pair of socks with it, I can do that too. So excited. Thank you so much for that help. Point in the right direction. So I have enough of that. I'm also using, was on the fence about it, but I think I'm going to carry on with it, the Opal Little Print Slide. I don't know. Yeah, this is color 7763. It's the purple teal color. So I've knit 1 square. I'm going to keep going. I kind of like it, and I laid them all out. I'll insert a picture to show you. I laid out the squares I finished so far, and I don't like the variegateds. I was right about that, but I do kind of like these 2 mixed with the third, which is the solid teal, dark teal color. So think that's where I'm headed with his blanket. Yeah. It's exciting. So 12 squares finished, and I'm knitting them on, do I even have it? US 2s 2.75, so big 2s as I think of them. 2.75 needles. Yeah, and I always have 2 going at a time, and it's my purse, line at Duncan, whatever, knitting. My sock is squishing down in my shoe, and it just suddenly really started to bother me, and I have to fix it. I cannot go on. You want to see what sock? See, it's a little liner, headliner, and I just can't. I have to fix it. Oh, drop my knitting. This craziness. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It's been another busy week for me here in work land, but it's Friday, so happy Friday. So that's that. I only have one other project to share with you that's on the needles actively right now. Let me check my time. Am I doing okay? I am. And that is the 2010 cardigan by Vera Baccamelli. You'll remember that last week I told you you're getting in on the ground floor. So I am doing just an inch a day. That maybe that should be the motto of this. That's has been my goal, and an inch should be 4 rows. So really I'm doing 4 rows a day. It's been 6 days. I have 6 inches, it's true. So, and I haven't done today, so today is technically day 7, but there you go. That's how it looks. Moss stitch or something. One of those make you go crazy going back and forth all the time on your needles, but love the finished product, so worth doing. Sweaters. So, picture of it. Let me show you, because you're like, that's great stuff. I love the way your yarn looks. So there is, it's an asymmetrical short sleeve sweater cardigan with a cowl neck. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and yeah, an inch a day. To be honest, I'm not enjoying working with bulky yarns, so I'm using Valley Yarns, which is the Webb's house brand, Valley Yarns Northampton Bulky. Oops. And size 8, 5mm needles, and I think that the yarn, I've got a ball band right here. Excuse my very ugly miswrapped skein. Yeah, the ball band says 10.5. I don't know how I got myself onto this size yarn. Like, I think I went down a rabbit hole of bulky and ended up in a super bulky, but whatever. So it's a really dense fabric. Like, there's nothing getting through this. And I feel like it's going to be more of a deep winter, not outside without a coat, but more of a sweater coat than just a lightweight sweater, like, you know. Because this definitely, there's a table in front of me, and yeah, it stands up on its own. Can you see that? So, but it's gonna be good. I'm having faith. I tried it on. I put it on holders, and I tried it on around my little tummy and over my hips, and it fits perfectly just the way I want it to. So we are go on that guy. I think it's gonna be a good one, just an inch a day. And that's it. I want to share. I feel like I knit a lot of socks, and I have a lot of people in my life that like socks, but who appreciates socks better than a knitter? So I thought I would put up a covert kind of prize drawing-ish thing and offer to knit one lucky viewer well, I'm assuming they're lucky, one viewer, a pair of custom socks. But the caveat was that they would be made from the socks I have in progress, which are currently Patons Croix in a purple. So, and I have 2 socks about 5 or 6 inches into the foot, and I'm about to turn the heel, and so I stopped, and I haven't been knitting socks because of this, and yeah, so I wanted to offer up a pair for a viewer, and as we're speaking, so there were 30 people who entered. I just hit generate, and random.org, hopefully you can see that. Number 13 is the lucky winner, and if I jump back to the raft group, sorry, see, you know, I know some podcasters worry about looking legitimate and doing on-air drawings. I really hate the time that it takes to go back and forth between the places, so I tend to draw ahead of time because I want to. So, but now I've drawn live for you. So number 13 is Mountain Pearl. And she says, no one has ever knit socks for her. So I will be very happy to knit you a pair of socks, although I'm seeing that you have a 6.5 foot size. And those socks might be too far along. So we'll be in touch. You contact me. How about that? And if you're not totally set on the purple, then I'll knit you a different pair, because I'm certain that those are more like a 9-10. So, but anyways, Mountain Pearl, I'm just looking, what's your name in real life, Kathy? Send me a PM and we'll talk it through, and I will knit you a pair of socks. So I just wanted to get that out there. I've been watching Miss Fanny's Murder Mysteries, and you know, I rewatched the first 2 episodes because I so loved them, right? I know. And they were just as good the second time through as they were the first. They were in fact better because now I know the characters and more invested in them. So I think that speaks very highly of my regard for the show, that I am willing to go back and rewatch the first ones because I think it's so good. So if you are looking for something to watch over on Netflix, go check it out. I'm, I think, 8 episodes in and really loving it. So there's that. Let's talk about Mission 2015, shall we? Okay, so the first mission is to knit 12 pairs of socks. And here we are at the end of March, and I am the same as I was at the end of February. So just 2 completed pairs there, but I'm gonna keep going on those. I had sort of set aside the purple pair waiting to do the drawing. I was more thinking, like, I had the inspiration for the contest and the drawing, and then I wasn't prepared for it. That means you won't knit on these socks anymore. So now put them aside. So I'll be glad to get those back in work, into the works. Number 2 is the 3 years to build a barn raising quilt. So I'm trying to hit 16 to 22 squares this year, and I'm the same as I was at February. I have 8 completed squares, which is halfway there, so that's great. I am thinking the 2 variegated skeins I don't like from Tristan's will end up over on mine. But mine is supposed to be self-striping, so it's questionable. They could end up on some future 3rd blanket, because these squares are really addicting. Insert expletive of your choosing. 2 sweaters for me. So I finished my Miranda and I finished my Grace, and that makes 2. 2. So I'm definitely gonna have a 3rd one here if I keep going on my inch a day. That is not an inch. This is more like an inch. So the next one is End with Less Stash. And so I have more stash, but I have less stash than I had last month. So that's better, right? Making a little progress there. So I'm down about a mile from the end of February to 167 miles. So need to get that below 164, which I can totally do. I totally can do this. And then, oh, excuse me. And then whips, less than 29 projects at the end of the year. 15 would be ideal. That doesn't seem to be something I'm going to be able to do. I can get below 29. I don't think I can get to 15. Oh, sorry. In all honesty, I really don't think that's feasible for me. I currently have 30 projects, 7 active and 23 hibernating. But what you don't realize in that number is that hibernating has come down 1. I know whips are, there's more in the whips classification, but that's okay. Hibernating has come down, and how did that work? So I frogged the caution mix. I really need to frog the curl. Yep, I was knitting that while watching Vikings. We stopped watching Vikings because we got to a very violent section, and both of us, it's like Steve and I are like two children daring each other, like, and at one moment one of us will feel brave and okay, we can watch this really graphic, gruesome thing, and the other one doesn't feel that brave. And it doesn't help that my BFF watched it and said, okay guys, don't watch that before bed. And so we're like, okay, we have to watch it on a Saturday or Sunday during nap when we both feel like feeling brave and we want to, it's just too much work, right? So it's been like, I want to say 2 months since we watched it because we're both like, no, that's not entertaining and that's not fun. And so we'll see. But the curl that I was working on is definitely not going to go any further. The entire, either the chart is wrong or my entire project is wrong because I was always like 2 or 3 stitches too many. And teach me. I mean, start knitting something that being one of the first projects on something means that you catch the errata if there's going to be any. If on your size there's going to be some. So I don't know what I was missing, if I was misreading, if it was miswritten. I don't know, but I'm going to frog that. So it's on a holder because I haven't been able to bring myself to admit that I'm going to frog it, but taking it off the needles and putting it onto a bit of cable is one step closer. So that's going to happen. So that'll be one less. What else? And that's it. Those are my missions, right? So let's catch up. All right. My job is different. Every week is a little bit different than the week before. And it sort of runs in this year-long cycle. Or you could make it a 6-month cycle if you wanted. But a year is probably more accurate. So every week is different. And I don't know why I have to have goals, why I have to compare and contrast and rate, but I do. And so in terms of my favorite things about my job this past week is in my top 10 weeks. So it's a good time. It's exhausting, right? So I'm forecasting what the sales are going to be, and that just, it's a lot of brain power, but it's so much fun. It's playing with the fabric and then doing the numbers, which is the perfect job for me. Like if I could do this all the time, I would be the happiest person ever. Like I love numbers, you know, I love that part of my job. And I also like to play with the samples and the garments and, you know, what's the fabric gonna look like and feel and what do we think people are gonna buy based on this. So yeah. That's been my life. Steve had a couple work meetings this week, so the boys and I flew solo 2 nights. It was fine. It was fine. Tristan is getting just easier and easier by the day. And I say that, like, having a small child it requires a lot of work, right? If you're a mom, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And if you don't have children, well, then you should know this. You know, you go from, or it's like 80% of my waking time is focused on Tristan, right? And then you go to work, and so then you get that break at work. But the rest of the time, it's right back on him. And as they get older and they need to eat less and they can feed themselves and play a little bit and walk around, cruise around the furniture, it becomes easier. So I just can't wait till we get to the point when both boys go to bed at the same time, where they can take tubs together without having to be like, oh God, Tristan, don't slip. I know I could put grippers in the bottom of the tub, but it's easier just to tub them separate and quick and do it that way. But yeah, till they're on the same routine. And I mean, that's the whole reason why you have 2 kids close together in age, and they're relatively close together in age, less than 3 years apart. But it's like, I want them to do things together. Because right now, Tristan goes to bed at 7 and Ro stays up till about 8. So it'll be great when they're both, when it's story time for both, when it's PJ time for both, instead of going through those nightly routines 2 separate times. So, but again, when Steve's around, you know, divide and conquer. So yeah, that's it. You know, Ro is, I really need to share some Ro video with you because that boy has more words, phrases, sentences. I mean, complicated, complex thoughts, and just, it's amazing to see the development. It really is, and it's so much fun to watch. And we're starting to talk about his transition into, I guess it's pre-K. So this summer, in a short, no, it'll be more than 3 months because his birthday's in September, and so they'll probably move him in August. He'll move up, and then it's like kindergarten. I mean, we're a year and a half from kindergarten, but it's just amazing. And they're having a hard time with him at the daycare because he doesn't want to nap. He wants to stay awake. That's not a problem at home. I don't know if it's that we let him take a stuffy and a toy to bed, but he's very quiet. I can hear him on the monitor. He's not up there playing. So maybe he saves up all his napping for the weekend. I don't know. But they're having a hard time getting him to sleep. And they're like, well, he could be growing out of them. I'm like, no. Double naps are magical when both boys are napping at the same time. And you know what? I have gone on and on and on, and that is really, really enough for today. So I'm going to say I will see you in about 10 days or so. And until then, enjoy what's going on in your knitting world. Take care. Bye.